Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How the devil are we? Hey, don't you wish your football club was hot like mine? I know I can't afford to get the Pussycat Dolls in, so you've got to have an old guy here with a sore throat singing it for you. But hey, how good is it being a Leicester fan at the moment? To be honest with you, you don't need a semi when you support Leicester. You get one all the time. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. We are on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group. We're on Twitter at Leicester TID. And if you're not on it yet, please get over to YouTube. Watch us on there, Leicester Till I Die TV, and press my buttons, tweak my bits, and subscribe to me on YouTube. Football is back. Oh, it is. I can't wait. We literally got less than 24 hours. And tonight, you've got the massive game between the Minnows and the Giants. Yes, the Minnows of Arsenal are travelling to the Giants of Brentford and starting the season off. And talking about starting the season off, how can you not start the season off with this picture? Look at that. International man of mystery there, Mr. Craig Bird. He's got his hands on two trophies, and it was a long time since his wife let him do that. But I tell you what, it's a thorn between two roses. But let's bring him in before he kills me. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everybody. Yes, indeed, it was a great thing for the club to do. They gave fans, season ticket holders, the opportunity to go down over the past few days and have their photo taken with the two trophies. So it's fantastic. That on top of the announcement for the new stadium, all the development around it. And as you say, we've been very, very aggressive in the transfer market, gone out and got 4 players. And I don't think anybody's left really yet at the moment, apart from Gazelle. The
biggest loss. The biggest
it's
loss,
a great time to be a Leicester fan.
Isn't it just? And it's a great time to be my daughter as well. This is my favourite podcast, she says.
Excellent.
She has to be totally unbiased, so she knows she's out me will. Tycho.
What's she going to do without that fiver?
Well, who knows? Who knows? Tycho, hi there, mate. How you doing? Bit worried about the big game tonight. Like I say, it's, Brentford away. Oh, tricky one for you. Rennie, I'm good. Well, I've got full of man flu. Like I say, those of you that have been watching here, look at that. Look at that. Man flu lozenges. There we go.
You know when you were a kid, Chris, and
yes.
If you didn't want to play, and there was a lot of kids who didn't want to play, they'd send they'd go to the teacher with a note saying, "Sorry, can I be excused? He's not feeling up to it tonight." Interesting to see that Aubameyang and Lacazette have both arrived with notes saying that they're not well enough to play tonight. Jeez. I mean, what's that?
It's
all
a sick
about?
note. How long's that sick note for, though?
Oh, God knows. I don't know. They're both feeling poorly.
Bless them. Bless them. Despite that, Tycho, Arsenal fan, big Arsenal fan there. Well, thanks for coming anyway, mate. But he still thinks it's going to be 2-1 to Arsenal. So we'll see. We'll see. No disrespect, mate, but come on, Brentford. But you did say, oh, I like to see the small clubs doing well. I like to see this when they come up. I predicted if I've seen you pop in on a couple of the shows I've been doing. I've got Brentford finishing mid-table. And I really, really hope they do. It's nice to see these smaller clubs because I remember that was us at one point.
It was us, yeah. I think that might be a stretch for them, to be honest. But it depends. If Tony scores goals, then that helps. That's always the downfall, isn't it, of teams coming up, whether they can score enough.
But when you look at it, you've got look at Sheffield United in their first season.
Yeah, didn't score many. True, they kept a lot of clean sheets, didn't they? And kept it tight at the back.
They were battling for Europe at one place.
Yeah.
Blackpool, when they came up, were top of the league for a couple of weeks. It didn't end very well for them. And, of course, Hull managed to stay up that first year, even if he did take a ticking off in the centre circle from the manager. But, it is possible. It is possible. But I think it's getting harder as well, though, for these teams when they come up. Because I do think the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is getting bigger.
It is. But I think these clubs that have come up are trying to do it the right way. They're coming up playing football, which they'll need to do really to actually have any chance. They'll have to play a bit of decent football. And all three teams who have come up, definitely Brentford, definitely Norwich, Watford a little bit more direct. But no, as you say, if they could keep it tight at the back and nick a few goals, then they've got every chance. And if you've got a goal scorer, you've always got a chance.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have been happy to get Ivan Toney at one point, but obviously when they got promoted, he wasn't going to leave. No. Good evening, Dan. You can tell it's Friday the 13th. I'm sat indoors watching two young duffers instead of the pub.
Cheers, Dan.
At least he said young, I suppose. At least he said young. That was
what it means is his missus has told him he can't go out.
Yes. See, this is why he wears a cap. You see, I wear a cap because I've got no hair. Dan wears a cap because of the thumbprints all over his top of his head. Rich, good evening, Rich. How are we doing? He thinks Leicester will win this. And we'll talk about it because we're not got the best. Well, we've not got a bad record, but they never sort of haven't been exciting games for a while. But to say the least, snooze fest. But before we start that, I mean, like you said earlier, we've had the news of the stadium, which when this design again, it's been a badly kept secret. From above, it looks like a Boots foot spa, but when you look at it as part of the whole complex, my God, it's is this my club?
I know.
A little bit of me is thinking, I'm worried we're getting too big, but I think with the owners we've got, they're not going to get unattached from the fans, which is the good thing.
No,
but. Not only that, a week and 2 days ago, we played a friendly against Villarreal. Our main defender was brutally hacked down. There's no two ways about it. He should have gone. I don't wish him any harm, but I think Chelsea could have done him one the other night, and they didn't. But he's out now for most of the season. Hopefully, we'll be back in the new year. But we know what they're like. Players never come back. We saw that with Maddison and Pierre. It takes them a while to get back in. So we're probably not going to see the best of him for the whole season. Within a week, they've got somebody in having a medical signed, and I believe he's been signed, and he can actually start on Friday. And Mr. Vestergaard, or do they call him here, Leicestergaard?
Leicestergaard, yeah.
Yes,
I did see that. He's a unit, that's for sure. And as Jamie, it's nice that Schmeichel's got his Danish friend in.
Yeah. Ooh, Danish friends.
I'm sure we're going to see that a few more times over the coming days. Yeah.
That's going to be a shout as well at the old KP.
Well, it's got to be, yeah. I mean, as I said before, I thought he was a bit more left-footed and left-sided. It wasn't really what we needed with Soyuncu being over there. But having watched him and watched a few bits on YouTube over the last few days, he looks like a ball playing centre half. That's for sure. You know, he does like to play some neat passes, to be honest, between the lines. So I would say that, you know, Fofana obviously is a fantastic talent, but in terms of whether this is, it'll be interesting to see whether it's an upgrade on Johnny Evans. You know, Johnny's been fantastic. What Vestergaard will give us is clearly more of a presence in both boxes. We're pretty poor in both boxes, particularly from set pieces, corners. But also his distribution isn't the best, Johnny Evans. But I think Vestergaard is pretty decent on the ball. So you know, he could fit in nicely there. So it'll be interesting, but nice to have, as I say, a presence in the box.
Well, yes, 6 foot. Is it 6'6"? He's 6 foot something, isn't he? You know.
Yeah, I think he's about 6 foot, 6'7". Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, just in case anybody's watching and they're not doing anything after this show, at 8:30, I'm actually having a chat with Saints podcast Match Day Vlogs. We're going to have a quick 20-minute chat about Yannick Vestergaard, and we will learn all about him. Is he all that? We will find out later on. So that's 8:30. So tune in for that. And nobody can give us a lowdown on a player like the fans of the last club that we're at.
That's true. I look just on that comment there. I look forward to doing my first show with Heather in the coming weeks and months. Yeah, looking forward to that, Heather.
The way she's going through jobs at the moment, that is probably her next job. Which job are you on at the moment? Honestly, she's actually not sort of being sat, but she's just actually getting job offers all the time. Better jobs. So she's had about 5 jobs in about a year. So I've no idea where you are at the moment, Heather. So you have to let me know. Yeah, and as Rennie says that, ooh, Danish friends. But yeah. Heather says she's very. You excite her as well. Tell you what, Heather.
Thanks, Heather. Thank you. I can feel the flutters starting already.
I'm going to have a word with Josh, Heather. You'll be in trouble, Heather. You'll be in trouble. Me think she might have been drinking a little bit, but
it's hereditary then.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, it's like diarrhea. It runs in your genes. It's back. The football season is back, and tonight,
football, yes, football.
It is this.
It's the Premier League preview show with Chris and Craig on Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
It is. It's the preview show with me and Craig, 2 young duffers as we've been called, and we've got this Saturday. 14th of August. We're not on telly. We're back to having to watch it on different methods. 3 o'clock, King Power. It's free on BBC Radio Leicester if you are in the county, or lcfc.com radio if you are elsewhere. And it's nice to be back. I guess you're going down, Craig.
I will be there. I should be making the most of a Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, few and far between.
It will probably be our first and our last.
Yeah. I mean, as it stands, we're still due to play Man City at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, which seems bizarre for some reason, but we shall see. But no, I'm looking forward to it. You know, the owners are welcoming everybody back with a free water or a beer, just to say hello again. So another great a great thing from our owners.
I'm missing that again. You have to save me one and send it up.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Just to get the essence of it, I'll send you the empty can, Chris. How's that? It'll be less on postage.
Cheers, mate. You know, you're a friend.
Yeah, I know.
You're a friend. I mean, there's not many clubs that you would go and that actually encourage you to drink.
I know. But no, it's nice again for them to recognise that the fans have been away for a long time, apart from the few that were lucky enough to get in on the Spurs game. It's been a while.
That sums the owners up, doesn't it? You know, like you say, we've been about a season and a half, literally, hasn't it?
It has. It's going to be weird to have a full house there. So looking forward to it immensely.
And you'll have to let me know if they still, when you get your drink, if they put the stamp on the back of the hand that you can rub off like that, and then you walk round to the next one, get it. And, that hand this time, yes, please, thank you. Walk round. We've all done it. Don't deny it. Wolves up at home. Not a bad first game.
No, excuse me. As you said before, you touched on it before. Our games against Wolves over the last few seasons have hardly been goal fests, have they?
No.
If you're going to have a flutter, I would put it on a low score, less than 2.5, I would think. But
yes. Well, there's last season's for you.
Yeah, and I think the season before was probably a 0-0 thrown in there as well. So
I think we've got to go back over 2 seasons, and we had a 4-3 against them.
Yeah, and that went the wrong way, I think.
And that did go the wrong way.
Yeah.
So even Brad said if it's a boring 0-0, he's refusing to do the post-match show. Somehow I can't see it somehow. No, I can't see it this time. It's going to be great because it'll be the first chance a lot of fans get to see the new signings. If you weren't at Wembley at all for the Community Shield, or as and I'm going to say this every time I say Community Shield, I actually still call it the English Super Cup.
Yes, quite right too. It should be rebranded.
In Spain, it would be the Super Cup, wouldn't it? It's Premier League versus FA, so we are champions of England as far as I'm concerned. But no, all joking aside, I mean, I've got to be honest with you, Ryan Bertrand, I was literally he's going to start, isn't he? He's having such a good season.
Definitely. I mean, he's been put on virtually all of the set pieces. You know, he's taken off Maddison, so we've got somebody who can actually get past the first man at a corner. So that's a bonus.
Yep.
So we've automatically with him and Vestergaard, surely we're going to score from a corner.
Free kick.
But no, he's played really well. He's looked solid at the back. That bit of experience. He's been a solid signing, hasn't he? And a free signing at that. So great piece of work. And I think we were in for him quite early, and I think that helped. You know, that we'd identified him early on, and I've read a few things. And I know Fabrizio, when you did your piece with Fabrizio, was talking about how early Leicester get in for their players, and they sort of talk to them over a long period of time and get to know them as people and sort of really sell the club to them. And I think as soon as we were interested, I think there was no hesitation that he was going to come here.
No, but he was an un-Leicester-like signing, wasn't he? But
him and Vestergaard, really, both.
Yes.
You know, at the tail end of their careers, you would say. But sometimes you need Premier League experience. You know, you've got to have you can't have the youth everywhere. You know, we've got foreign players who have had 1 or 2 seasons here now and have bedded in a little bit more, but you can't. There's no getting away from experience of what that brings you. And Bertrand particularly is going to be a great mentor to young Luke Thomas.
And I've seen him on the pitch. You know, we've only had friendlies and then, like I say, the Community Shield and the Villarreal game, but he takes control. He's that older head. I mean, I think he's probably the oldest outfield player apart from Jamie Vardy. But, you know, he does instruct. He does gee the team up. And it's like, maybe that's that. We've said many times we've lacked on we got Casper in goal, but a sort of outfield general, if you like. Maybe he's that.
It is. I mean, it's interesting with him and all the signings, really. You would say that they are all forward thinking. You know, Samare in the middle, a lot of people are likening him to Ndidi. But again, I think he's a little bit more forward thinking. Bertrand already we've seen likes to get forward. Daka is just, Jamie Vardy in waiting. Yeah. And from what I've seen of Vestergaard, he does like to spray a pass around. So I think it's an exciting. It's probably as exciting on the back of last season with the cup holders, with the community / super cup holders.
Yes,
there's just so much to be positive about, and obviously, if the result goes the wrong way, they'll all be out again, all the moaners. But you've got to have a long-term view, and I think this is the best we've looked going into a season for quite a while.
I never felt this confidence going into a season, but I can see it hard for Johnny Evans getting back in, to be honest with you. Certainly not for sort of Premier League, which is still, I know we're in the Europa League, and I know I've sort of said I think we're going to go on and win that, but the Premier League's still got to be your priority. When you look at that back now, you've got Ryan Bertrand, Yannick Vestergaard. They've played together for a couple of seasons. They know each other, where they are, what they'll be doing.
Yeah.
And you got Danish friends with Vestergaard and Schmeichel. We've got to now, that is a new rule. We have to say that every time we talk about them together. You got Vestergaard and Schmeichel who know each other again and can probably swear at each other in Danish so nobody else knows. So it's great that he is, like you literally say, no pun intended, but hit the ground running.
I mean, if you look at that, you've got Soyuncu, Vestergaard, Bertrand and Pereira. That's a pretty solid back four.
Oh, God, yes.
And then you've got Fofana, Castagna, Johnny Evans and James Justin. You know, there's another four sitting in behind them, you know, as soon as everybody's fit. So from that perspective, we're in a very good place at the minute.
Unbelievable. I think we're still looking at well, you mentioned before when we had a chat on the show, we're still looking at maybe a right winger.
Yeah.
Although, you know, again, I mean, we have got Mark Albrighton. He doesn't seem to like starting him. He likes to bring him on as an impact player.
Yeah.
Almost certainly Perez is going to be out there, which we know. You know, we don't need to go over Perez and the right wing.
No.
But you've also got Pereira, if Castagna comes back when he's fit, moving Pereira up. But I think we do need an out-and-out right winger. Now, whether that's maybe Dan James on loan rather than a purchase at this point, I don't know.
I know you're a big fan of Dan James. That's one we'll agree to differ on, I think.
Only because I think he's done it for. He can do it for Wales. We've seen he had a really good Euros. I thought he's young, and Brendan can mould him.
I think it's funny now, isn't it? Probably 2 seasons ago, you'd have probably said yes because we were a mid-table team. I'm not sure now that we're looking to be pushing top 4 every season now, whether you can afford to bring someone into mould who's going to start every game. So I'm not sure. And for me, you know, Brendan's always come out and said he prefers someone who could come in on his left foot. And I'm not sure that is Dan James, but he definitely gives you pace. He's direct, and he does need to go somewhere where he's going to get game time because there's definitely a good player in there. I think it's another Man U thing that if you don't get off to a flying start at Man U, you find yourself on the bench and then your confidence starts to drain away. So there's definitely a good player there. Whether it's with us, I'm not sure. But I thought it was interesting because it's quite rare for Brendan to actually come out and admit that he's still looking to buy players. You know, he's usually very coy. Yes. But in that interview, he said, you know, quite openly, we're still open to doing some more business in this window. So I think it's a watch this space.
Definitely. But yeah, the worry for me is as to what money we've got. You know, that we I mean, I don't want us to be in the position where Arsenal are allegedly with Maddison. If they're going to want to bring Maddison in, then they're going to have to sell to raise the money. And you know, when you're saying that about a club like Arsenal, it shows how the pandemic has hit. I mean, look at Barcelona. You know, they're in the deep doo-doos up to the neck. You know, because of the pandemic. So I'm impressed that they've gone out and found this money to go and buy Vestergaard. And that's why I'm just thinking it might be a loan rather than a.
No, it could be. It could well be, to be honest, as we'll see, and we'll touch on later. You know, our opponents tomorrow have gone into the loan market for a winger, and a winger that we were linked with. So it could well be that's the way forward.
We'll come on to him. Scott's asking here. I was reading this earlier. Thoughts in Iheanacho being linked with Roma. I can't see that happening. Can you?
I can't at this moment in time. I think he's still got a massive part to play. He was asked the question, I think, after the Charity Shield. So showing my age there, still calling it the Charity Shield.
The Super Cup.
The Super Cup. You know, the interviewer tried to probe him and tried to sort of cause a bit of controversy and said, surely after what you did last season, you must have been disappointed not to start the game. And And I know he's not going to come out and say he's disappointed, but he was quite open in saying that, it's a squad. He knows that everybody's got a part to play in the squad. And he's got, even in the games pre-season, he's been having plenty of pitch time and he's seen as an important member. And I think he's the type of guy who needs to be in a place where he's loved.
Yes.
And he is. He is here. He's surrounded, as we touched on before, everybody says what a fantastic environment they create here at Leicester. Going over to a new country, Roma, with a manager who we know can be very volatile. He can be your best friend, but then he can be your worst enemy in Mourinho. I'm not sure that's the type of move that would be that attractive to him, to be honest.
No. And also, I think, he's only just signed a new contract again. So if he was unhappy, a year ago, he wasn't in the place where he is now. He wasn't in the team as often. He wasn't scoring as often. And yet he signed an extension to his contract. So he's totally not unhappy here.
No, you would say that in most, you can say 2 words, Harry Kane, in terms of people signing contracts. I think if a contract's put in front of you these days, giving you more money, you're going to sign it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think you're right. He looks happy. He looks at home. He looks like he's well liked in and around the club. And I think that's an important thing for him. He's a confidence player, and all that upheaval, I'm not sure that he's ready for that, to be honest.
No. Say hello to Miss Molina. Nice kit. The new kit again, the new away kit. What can I say? I saw it a lot down at Wembley, and I do like it. I don't like the third kit though, Craig. I don't know about you. I'm not.
I saw it in the shop today, and it's flying off the shelves. That's for sure. Right. I would have preferred it if it was a darker grey. It's a little bit too light grey for me, but and I think the sponsor's logo should have been in the same pink as well. But it's different, isn't it? It's different. I think if anybody could show that off well, Chris, I'm sure it's you.
Well, I don't like to hide my feminine side. I'm open to it. So the pink. It's a very bright pink, though, isn't it?
It is quite bright. You're going to be noticed on the number 67 on the way home on a Saturday night, Chris. Definitely.
The 67, I remember. Right. Okay. So, do you think we'll see Vestergaard in for Wolves? They announced it mid-afternoon. They waited till I got in the bath, which is bloody typical of Leicester. But did they do it in time? Do we know for tomorrow?
By all accounts, they've done it in time, and Southampton gave him permission to come and train with us before it had all been signed as well. So he has trained with the team.
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he starts, to be honest. I think if it was, with all due respect, one of the bigger boys, he may not have gone straight in.
Yeah.
But I think, it'll be interesting because, with Wolves, you've got... his name's gone out of my head, but the striker coming back,
Jimenez,
from injury. You do wonder how he's going to react in aerial confrontations. It's only natural to be a little bit hesitant. I haven't seen much of him in pre-season. I know he's played quite a bit. I wasn't sure he'd ever come back, to be honest, but you've got to think that he's going to be a little bit reticent in going in for aerial duels, particularly if he's up against somebody like Vestergaard. So it wouldn't surprise me if they put him in, because he is good in the air. If he's the same Jimenez that they had prior to the injury,
I've got to say, and I want to just sidetrack a little bit. Southampton are part of this conversation because of Vestergaard, but to give a player permission to go and train with somebody that's wanting to buy them. Yeah. That club's... I've actually ended up putting them in the bottom 3 to go down this season. They've lost... Bertrand again, his French cousin is back. As I said, it's only Vince. Bertrand obviously didn't sign a new contract, so he went. Ings has gone. We've just got Vestergaard. If I was a Saints fan, I'd be looking at where the clubs are in the second tier.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit worrying for them, isn't it? I think what they'd done, they'd allowed people to run contracts down, hadn't they? And if you're playing well and you're in a team like Southampton, again, no disrespect to them, a well-run club and a successful club, been in the Premiership for a long time now. But if you want to try and push on, then you're unlikely to be signing longer-term contracts when you get down into your last year. And I think that's what's happened with Vestergaard. He's only got a year left. I think Ings was going into his last year on a contract. So they just decided to cash in. You would think that they've got their own targets. He said, Hasenhüttl, that he was quite pleased with the business they'd done. I'm not sure they've really replaced Ings, although I do quite like the look of Adam Armstrong, who they pulled in from Blackburn. Got a fantastic goal record. So if you've got people who are still creating chances, I think he will put them away. And they've managed to hang on to Ward-Prowse because obviously Villa made a big bid for him.
Yeah,
I think if Ward-Prowse had gone, then I think it would have been curtains for them, to be honest. Yeah. But they managed to hang on to him. So yeah, worrying times if I was a Southampton fan, and you never know. I do like Hasenhüttl though. The way that he pulled that team back together after the 9-0 shows a hell of a lot.
Ours or Man United.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have these bits, don't they? But they stick together, and he pulls them together, and they just tailed off a little bit last season. But I like him as a manager. I think he's quite open and honest, and I wish them well. I wouldn't like to see them struggling down there, but you do fear a little bit.
Looking at Wolves, we said how sort of close it was, and the games were always close. I mean, we played each other 8 times in the Premier League. We've drawn 4, and we've won 2 each, and both of them being home games. I mean, can you see on the draw? I mean, everybody, and we'll come on to sort of score predictions in a minute, but everybody's going for a Leicester win. It's the new manager coming in, who I hadn't heard of before he came in, but with the surname of Lager, you've got to think, he's probably, all right. I was surprised Nuno went. I was talking to a Wolves guy last night, and he was saying there was probably more going on behind the scenes than people know. He maybe wasn't being given the funds that he should have had to take Wolves forward. Obviously, he went off and became Spurs' 8th choice manager, but I just think they're going to struggle this year. I think Nuno was such a good fit for them.
Yeah, I think you could be right. They are, they'd probably got to a point where it was twist or bust for them, and it seems like they didn't want to twist. They wanted to, or at least I don't think they had the backing to buy without selling. And they've managed to hang on to most of the players. I mean, they lost Jota last year. Doherty went off to Spurs. It'll be interesting to see whether he's playing regularly again, because Mourinho didn't seem to like him, even though he bought him. Which again just shows you why Iheanacho probably shouldn't go anywhere near Roma. But with Nuno going there, you would think Doherty's going to get back in. But they've got some decent players. It's interesting that Cody didn't get a kick in the Euros this season. Yeah. By all accounts, I think he's going to play alongside one of the younger lads who played a little bit last year. So I think this is a big season for Wolves, and probably one where they should just look to be trying to maintain a mid-table spot, because it could go horribly wrong. I'm not sure about the depth they've got. There's 2 or 3 key players who have got to turn up, I think, this season and stay fit. And if they don't, then they could be in trouble.
Totally, but I think it's a big season for a lot of teams, to be honest with you. I mean, Manchester City and Chelsea, 100 million and 95 million, respectively, on players coming in. They've got to justify that, and buying one player, but buying Grealish. He's good, 100 million. He's going to have to be absolutely. He's going to have to be 12 out of 10, isn't he? So you can see things going wrong there. Ole, I think at Man United, it's if he doesn't win something this season with the money they've spent, I think he could probably go. You know, he has been the proverbial bottler, hasn't he? Ole, Klopp. I mean, I think a lot of managers have probably got away with it because of the fact that it's been COVID. And you can say, well, you know, you can't. It would have been unfair. I think with Sheffield United sacking their manager, I think it's so unfair in the times when we were to sack people because it wasn't normal. But we're back to normal now, whatever normal is. It is a big. It's 20 teams that have all got to have big seasons.
There is, and you've got, you know, this is that thing, is that balance, isn't it, between becoming a bigger club and a successful club without the weight of expectation being too great. You've mentioned 4 teams there who will all be disappointed if they don't win the league.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be ecstatic if we make top 4. You know, we haven't got those at the moment, those thoughts about we're going to be in this title race. I don't think. Well, I think you'd be a bit silly if you think so. Against 4, you know, if 3 of them were weak and you were up against 1-on-1, then maybe. But 4 clubs who have spent money, have solidified and strengthened this season. 3 of them are going to be disappointed, which means people are going to be under pressure. Players are going to be under pressure. Managers are going to be under pressure, and quite rightly, as you say. You can get away with that a little bit when it's an empty stand. When there's 40, 50, 60,000 people screaming at you, it's a little bit different.
Yes. I mean, you've hit it on the head there for one team, which is Newcastle, and they're going to be, Steve Bruce must be putting a colostomy bag on himself as we speak, ready for the weekend.
Yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for Steve Bruce, to be honest, you know.
Yeah.
When all his best players were on the pitch, they played some great football. You know, he wanted to go forward. They haven't really strengthened at the back, which is a worry for them. But going forward, they've got some great talent. And, you know, if he gets them going and get the crowd behind them, then they could do pretty well if they get off to a good start. And I think that's the key. Get off to a bad start, fans will be on his back, and it'll be curtains, I think.
I think fans are on his back already, to be honest with you. It's a bit unfortunate and this again gets me with the Arsenal fans. One bad season, they finished 8th, they didn't qualify for Europe for the first time in 25 years, and it's all woe is me. You know,
I think he's the manager who's under most pressure this season. Yeah.
I was going to say, you know, if you're bothered about how things have gone wrong, Arsenal fans, just have a look at Newcastle. And then you've got nothing to moan about, you know. Crafty Fox, good evening. Excuse me. We were talking about this early. You'll have to get this up on +1. See, we did talk about the winger situation. But looking at our team tomorrow, we're not going to be we're going to change it a little bit around this season as regards to, you used to pick your 11 last season, but it got to the point where it was the same 11 most weeks.
Well, it was, and Brendan obviously has a reputation. He can't be seen to be taking my team every week, so he deliberately changed it. So it was becoming pointless.
Well, you know, he rang me and he said, "Look, we can stop Craig doing that. It's putting me under pressure."
Yeah.
but just generally, we're going to see 4 to back. I think that's going to be his preferred.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. You know, there's this little part of me thinks whether he's brought Vestergaard in to play in the middle of a 3, and he might spring that one on us. But from everything we've seen in pre-season, that would be a surprise. I think Vestergaard gives us the option to do that as the big guy in between 2 centre halves. You know, if Johnny's fit again, but I think it's pretty much he's going to go with the 4.
Do you think that? I mean, Soyuncu scares me in a 3. I don't know if it's 3 in the back and it's Soyuncu. I think, oh my god, here we go. You know, it just worries me. He is so much better as part of that 4 with somebody either side of him.
He is. I think you know, we've talked about this before with Ndidi playing as a solo holding midfielder versus having 2 there as well. Players have to take responsibility when they're in their position. When there's a back 3, it's always got to be in your thoughts, well, there's 2 people who might cover me. When Ndidi was in a 2 holding, there was always someone else who would cover him if he didn't do his job. The responsibility comes on you when it's your position. And I think Soyuncu thrives on that.
I think he does, but you could be right. Madison start tomorrow?
Yeah, I think apart from probably Vestergaard coming in for Marty, I think it will be the Super Cup team that he starts with. To be honest,
I feel a bit sorry with that. With excuse me, Inacho, because I mean him and Vardy struck up the partnership, and it's like that's what kept us where we were towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
and yet he doesn't seem to be going with that.
No, again, unless he decides,
I'm just going to suck on the fisherman's friend.
Yeah, look at you. Yeah, you might want to turn your camera off. It depends. Unless he decides he's going to again throw a curveball in there and play Iheanacho. So it's almost more of a 4-3-3. But I think he's stuck for options, and I think with Barnes coming back in, I think that means that he's going to go with one up top, and it's going to be Vardy. And but you do look at what Iheanacho did, and even in pre-season, he's looked sharp and he's looked direct. He won the penalty by latching onto that Aki mistake. Yeah, and he had 2 or 3 other opportunities in that, so he looks sharp. So I think the good thing is Vardy knows he hasn't got a free ride this season. He's got to be at it. And even if that means he runs himself into the ground for 60 minutes and then he gives way, in the same way that Okazaki did when we won the title, that could be his role, that he's the guy who gets hooked after 60 minutes. Yeah.
I'm going to just say hello to Warren Knight. Finally, Warren, you got up in time. Bless him. He's from South Australia.
Oh, wow. Hi, Warren.
Yeah, he's like, it must be like 4 a.m. or something there. And he gets up early, and I never see his comments come up. And he always just comes on just as I'm playing the outro, and I miss him. So, Warren, mate, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for finally getting up and watching us live. Do we look any nicer live? They're probably not, actually. No. It's like Night of the Living Dead here. I tell you that. That's what we are. 2 players I want to talk about here before we go on to the news slot that we've got. Barnes, he's looked hot, hasn't he?
He has. He looks very direct. As soon as he gets the ball, whether he's been told or whether he's just saying this is my season, he's looked to take his fullback or his defender on. Very direct, and if you're going to be direct, you're going to attract another player to you as well. So he's going to have 2 players coming to close him down, which creates space for the intelligent players around him to take advantage of that space. So I think it's a big season for Barnes because he was looking great last season until he got that injury. He was looking like he could force his way into Southgate's "you're not the one" still squad for the Euros, and then he got the injury. So yeah, so it's a big season for Barnes, and he started pre-season like he knows it, and he's going to be very direct. So yeah, big season for him, and I'm excited to see what he does this season.
I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but it's also a big season, I believe, for Vardy. I think it's possibly his last season where we could see him playing as the main striker. I honestly believe that will he want to take a step down and play for maybe if Sheffield Wednesday somebody coming for him, he may say, yeah, let me go back and have a last, who are there. But I think as a 90-minute player week in, week out, he's coming to this is probably the season. But he can't find the net. I mean, in the Community Shield, he had a wonderful chance, and the goalkeeper did what I would call a Schmeichel. Just made himself big, and it hit part of his body and went. And that's what Schmeichel does. And if it's Schmeichel, we're saying it's a fantastic save. It has been a while since he scored, though.
It has. I mean, what I would say there is I was down the other end of the ground, and as you know, Chris, I was quite low down, so it was difficult to see what actually happened there. And I thought at the time it was a bad miss. When you see it back, it was a little bit behind him. What I would say is he got a really good connection on the ball, which is encouraging. He caught it nicely. But you're right. I think we saw a different Jamie last season, didn't we? One who was a little bit less selfish, was happy to be a support player when needs be, was getting his head up a lot more and picking out players around him. Now, that worked really well in the 2. How that's going to translate when he's the 1, I'm not sure, but that may be why we're still looking for that winger and we're going with Barnes, because Brendan's asked them to get up in support quicker. I think what we lacked a little bit last season when before he went to the 2 was the Vardy was so quick. We didn't have players who wanted to get up in support quickly enough or weren't able to. So he was a bit isolated. But I think you're right, as I touched on just a few minutes ago, he could be the new Okazaki in terms of putting 60 minutes in. And then that gets reversed over the next season or 2. So he's one coming on for 20, 30 minutes as the impact player.
Terry Blaise, and good evening, Terry. Thanks for joining us. Vards thrives on crowds in the ground. Talking of which, so does a certain, I believe, Mr. Maddison. I think he'll be playing a little bit better now. Maybe the crowds are back.
I think so, and it was encouraging, I thought, against Man City, that he was looking to get on the ball and turn. And he must have got fouled 10 times in the first 15 minutes of that game, because people know he's the threat. So, like we said for Barnes, this is a big season for Maddison. If he wants to get back in the England frame, if he wants more than mid-table clubs like Arsenal coming in for him, then he's got to have a big season.
It took a while for that comment to sink in, but I'm just counting here: 1, 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 days. Arsenal, 18 days and counting. You've got to raise the money, and if they don't throw any of your has-beens in, we don't want your. They're not good enough for you. They are certainly not good enough for us. Right, we will be right back, he says, if you can find it, after this.
The Premier League is back, and we've got it all covered here on Leicester Till I Die TV. Subscribe.
Doesn't that sound good? Premier League is back, eh? Premier
It
League
does.
is back.
It
Sounds
does.
good. Now, we're going to look now at, excuse me, this damn cough. We're going to be looking at one to watch. This is going to be new. This is replacing the Craig's team. And you're going to pick a player from the opposition that you think we should be looking out for. And this is the gentleman you've gone for this week. So tell us about it.
It's Trincao. It's a guy that we were linked with quite heavily last season, particularly around the January transfer window. He's come on loan from Barcelona. You'd have thought that Barcelona would want to keep the players they've got. Now, they did that deal, I think, before they realised that Messi was walking out the door, so they may be regretting it already. Whether there is a callback in January, I'm not sure. But this is a young kid who was destined for greatness quite early on. He made his debut when I think he was 17 for Braga in the Portuguese league.
Craig, so I'm just going to go and get a drink because my throat, you can hear me coughing there.
No worries, mate.
I'm just going to put you full screen. So you carry on telling us about him and I'll be back as soon as I can. Yeah.
So Trincao, really tricky winger, as I say, well respected at Barca. Barca actually bought him from Braga as a 21-year-old for 31 million euros. Now, his goal scoring record wasn't fantastic, to be honest. Overall, I think he's played 39 games. 39 games in total for Braga. And he scored 9 goals. He's a winger. He's a little bit lightweight, but he is a very tricky winger. But Barca not only paid 31 million for him, they put a buyout clause in his contract of just 500 million euros. That's right. You did hear me right. He has a buyout clause of 500 million euros. Now, I read that as them thinking that this is going to be some player. As I say, he scored a couple of goals last season when he was playing for Barca. There was I think he played a game against Alaves or somebody like that when they won 4-1, and he scored 2. And I heard, I think there was him, Trincao and Pedri, who's the other young player that Barca have got. And somebody said that that these two players are well respected because Messi passes to them. So I think that says it. That says it all. So for Wolves to actually get him, as I say, we were linked with him quite heavily last season, and there was a lot of talk, and people were saying there's no way Barca are going to let him go. And to be honest, it is a little bit surprising. There must be some kind of link between, obviously, he's Portuguese, and whether it's the manager or whether it's the people who are running Wolves and the agent there. But Wolves have done a fantastic deal. It is a bit of a coup for them to get him. As I say, if you've got a 500 million buyout clause in your contract, you are thought of as a player. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. And I'm not sure whether he's going to play right or left. Obviously, they've got Traore, who plays predominantly on the right. So I'm expecting him to come up on the left. Although I think for Barca, he played down the right. But he's definitely one to watch. And if he's on his game, I think he's going to have a big season.
Thank you very much for that. And thank you for carrying on while I was dying. Did one we let it get away, do you think?
Well, it was, as I say, it was. You can't say whether we let him get away because we don't really know whether he was ever in line to come to us. I know there was definitely interest in him. His name came up a lot yes. Over a sustained period of time. Usually, if players, like we've seen with Vestergaard, his name has come up quite a lot, and we finally got him. So I think there was a definite interest in there, particularly when we were looking for a right winger, because I think he is that kind of right winger who cuts in on his left. Knew that at the time he wasn't going to get a lot of game time, although he was playing and he has scored a couple of goals for Barca. But I thought they would keep him, to be honest. And as I say, with if Messi, if they had to make the decision now, they may well have kept him because, as I say, you don't get a 500 million euro buyout clause in your contract if they don't rate you.
No. And of course, this is Messi, who 12 months ago was going on strike to get out of Barcelona and now was in tears at the fact that he had to leave,
Allegedly, Chris, allegedly.
Yes. Maybe he should not buy his wife a handbag with the crocodile and use the tears instead. But I'm just thinking out loud there, So, we've not got a bad start to the season. We've got Wolves coming up. We're going to have a look at some scores in a minute. After that, we've got West Ham on the Monday and Norwich the following Saturday. And then obviously Man City, who we know we can beat. But I think they might have a few bigger guns back for then. But certainly as the first 3 games, it's a chance for us to put the statement out there, isn't it?
Definitely. I think you've got to be looking at a minimum of 7 points if we're realistic on hanging on to the coattails of the top 4.
Yeah,
you do want to get off to a good start and get some points in the bank before the European games kick in, which I think is later on in September.
Yeah.
So it gives us a good opportunity to have a strong start, and I'm sure Brendan thinks the same.
Yeah. Now then, score predictions. Of course, you are well known, Craig, for your 3-2s. And did you actually have a 3-2 last season?
No, it was more often. To be fair, it was more often a 3-1. And the one time that we had a 3-1, I didn't go for it.
Well, this is why we're not doing you picking the team this season, But we've got a couple of additions to the prediction this week. So this is how it's gone with the prediction league. Excuse me, and you can find all the information on the website www.leicestertillidie.com /next game. Oh, I've gone 2-1. Ian Marshall, who is very heavily involved with the long ball, who's bringing the prediction league in conjunction with us this year, a football prediction game. That's a big part of what Ian Marshall's doing at the moment. He's gone 3-1. Steve Walsh has gone 2-1. Jerry Taggart's gone 2-1. Tagged there, he's joined us. Steve Leinnick's 2-0. He's actually maybe gone back to trying to predict a correct score this season, Steve. And Ian Wilson, welcome along, Ian. Nice to have you with us. Hope you're on the road to recovery, mate. He's gone 2-0 as well. So we're all pretty confident it's going to be a win for us. You're gonna burst the bubble and say 0-0, Craig?
No, well, I'm shocked that Ian Marshall's actually gone for us to win a game. Because that's quite unusual. He is the bringer of doom most times. But
honestly, I'd like to call it. You know.
I love Marshall. He is nothing if not honest.
Yeah.
I'm. You know what? I know it may be a surprise, but I'm going to go for a 3-1, Chris.
It's not a surprise at all. It's not a surprise.
No, I'm confident. I'm confident. You know, to be honest, you know, I'm struggling with the 1 because I think we've looked pretty solid in the last couple of games we've had. You know, obviously the Fofana injury affected us and we let a couple of goals in, but we were looking comfortable against Villarreal there. I thought without that injury would have probably gone on to get 4 or 5.
Yes.
And we didn't look in a lot of trouble against Man City. Obviously, I had a couple of players out, but knowing Leicester and set pieces and God knows what, we always like to give the opposition a chance. So, yeah, 3-1 for me.
Excuse me. Well, I always think, being Leicester, I always think we have a goal in, we have a mistake in the defence, and then, like I said, always get one. And if Jimenez is back, then it's Odds Law that he'll score on his return. But that is brilliant. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. Nice to have it back. Proper football.
Indeed, looking forward to it. And I'm going to be shooting off, I think, to catch the start of the mid-table clash between Brentford and.
Well, it is the clash. It's not like us. There we go. You see, the FA Cup on one side, the Super Cup on the other side. It's. I know you said it was a bit of a queue. It was a bit busy, I believe.
It was very busy. It took me well over an hour to get into that point to have the photo taken. But yeah, it's one of those opportunities that I just couldn't pass by.
Of course. I am so jealous of you. But well done, mate. See you next week. Hopefully next week we've got another quiz coming in. We just need to confirm that. So the quiz could be back. Quiz of the week. And next Friday, possibly for the pre-West Ham game, which is on the Monday. You know, Indeed. Television takes over so soon, doesn't it? It does indeed. Away. But I think what we're all predicting a win, so fingers crossed for that. Craig, thank you very much, mate, and
you're welcome.
I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
Cheers,
and up the Foxes. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye. Thanks to Craig there. Hope he enjoys Brentford beating Arsenal. Like you say, clash of the mid-table teams there. So if you are like prediction leagues and you like joining them, watch us on Tuesday at 7:00. We're a little bit behind, and my behind's not that little, but I am with this one. We are doing a prediction league with, in conjunction there, as you saw, excuse me, this damn cough. You saw there the prediction league's being done in conjunction with the long ball, which is Ian Marshall. We're going to set up a league on there, Leicester Till I Die TV League. We're not starting this weekend because obviously the first match is tonight. But if you do fancy joining, we've got a full program on Tuesday night and we're going to explain it all. But all you need to do in the meantime, if you are interested in joining it, get onto thelongball.com and sign up, and we will find you and add you to the league. I think that's how it works. But Brad's doing it, and he's going to have all the answers on Tuesday at 7:00. It's back. Football is back. And I'm back. I am. In 29 minutes, we'll be speaking to Jack from Matchday Vlogs. the Southampton fan site, having a little chat about Mr. Vestergaard. Is he all that? He's certainly a giant. See you in 29 minutes. Good night.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.